So Dreadful, he went from going with chapter 9, right? I told him, explain the context. Did he explain the context? No. So he brought up a hadith. We read the hadith. I asked him a simple question. I asked him, does it say that they joined willingly, or does it say that they were forced to join? He didn't answer the question. But
Yeah, that's what he does, Akhi.
Achi Loco took his question. He asked a question. We gave him an answer. He asked another question. We gave him an answer. But when it comes to him answering questions, all of a sudden it's, I'm not taking questions. I'm not talking to you. I'm only talking to Loco. My friend, you're extremely disingenuous. Could you answer a single question that I've asked you? I asked you for the context of chapter 9. You didn't give it. I asked you, did they join willingly or were they forced? You didn't answer.
All right, Loco, you there?
Yeah.
Wait, Dreadful, could you hear me? Could you hear me, Dreadful?
Right quick, Loco? Man to man. Can I speak with you, man to man, Loco?
I'm a man too. I'm more of a man than you are, Dreadful.
You're not a I want to talk to you.
You're
doesn't want to
not,
speak with
my
those
friend. I'm more of a man than you are. I'm not stuttering. I'm not running, and I'm answering your questions. When it comes to you answering my questions, you start stuttering. You start stuttering, and you get nervous. And now that you met someone, right? Now that you met someone who's matching your energy, you're getting nervous, and you don't want to talk to me anymore. What's that about, my friend?
All right, Loco. So I read to you what they said, right? And in the Quran, it says that Muhammad could even have sex with his slaves. You know? So I'm trying to figure out, how is that any different from when the Spanish came and conquered the Aztecs and they raped all the women, bro?
Well, when it comes to Islam,
don't use that word.
Yeah, I got you. I got you. Great. All the women.
Now you could hear me, Dreadful, huh? You couldn't hear me when I was pressing you, but now you could hear me.
so like my whole thing
Keep
is,
stuttering, boy.
like my whole thing is, when it comes to the Quran, if I'm going straight by scripture, it says to don't unalive children, elderly people, don't harm trees, don't and it even says don't force your religion onto people. So it does. So whenever it does come to Islam spreading their message, it was mainly spread through trade. And, you know, if there was ever a time where they were trying to expand for political power, that's what every civilization does. I mean, there's not one civilization that don't expand for political power. That's why Alexander the Great conquered lands. That's why the Roman Empire conquered lands. That's why the Persian Empire conquered lands. So whenever it comes to Islam wanting to expand for political gain or political power, it's not really much different. Yeah, it's not really.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, but whenever it does come to the morals on it, when it comes to the early Muslims going and expanding, there's standard set of rules. You can't harm others. You can't harm women. You can't harm elderly people. You can't harm nature and stuff like that.
But Muhammad had sex slaves, bro. Ain't that what happened to our people?
No, we didn't.
Stop saying those words, okay?
Dreadful, give your evidence for that. Give your evidence. Go ahead. Because I'll refute you with a single verse from the Quran. Give your evidence.
That's one of the privileges of the Prophet.
Give your evidence. Give your evidence. Give your evidence. Give your evidence. My mic is a lot louder than yours. Give your evidence, my friend. Give your evidence. Give your evidence, or I'm gonna start making shit up too.
One more point I want to make too. Now, when it comes to the Quran versus the Bible, when it comes to the Quran, there's no rules saying that you could do these things. However, in the Bible, you are able to do things like you're allowed to take young virgin girls and keep them as your slaves and unalive every single man, donkey, ox in that village.
Right. For the sake of argument, I'll give you that, bro. But my point is, if you're going to say that you left Christianity because of it's a colonizer religion, and both of these books say the same thing, then why would you join Islam? That's my question. I'm not even arguing that Christianity is better or not. That's not even my argument. I'm basically asking you, why would you join another religion that did the same thing?
Because when it comes to the Quran, there's no verse that tells you that you can go and expand, grape women, and and even in the Quran, it even encourages that you free slaves. It even gives slaves the opportunity to buy their freedom back. So when it comes to Islam, they have a lot more rights than what slaves do in the Bible. Like, for example, the Bible says that you can beat your slave, and if he's, alive for a day or two, you're not punished. But if you beat him to the point to where he's unalive, then you get punished. So those rulings right there, even Israel, they're using Bible verses such as the Elamites to justify their genocide. So when it comes to the Quran, there's no verses that say that it's permissible to do these things because the Quran goes against these ideas. And if there are Muslims that are doing these things, then we don't take the bad Muslims and compare that to the whole religion.
And
actually,
look, I just wanted to say, sorry, I just want to say something really quick. Don't use the G side word. It's a TikTok will banana you for it.
Oh man, okay, I
Yeah,
got you.
just say G side.
G side, okay, all right. But
and also, Akhi, there's no, as he is elaborating the word sex, slave, stuff. We don't have that, okay, in Islam. We have someone called right hand position, and actually it's consensual relationship, okay? There's no force there, okay? It's consensual relationship, and we can see that from the seerah. One of the right hand position of Prophet Muhammad was Maria the Coptic, and the Prophet never mistreated her, okay? And actually he treated her the way she used to be treated before. Her home was closer to the river, okay, and he placed her in somewhere where there was greenery, where there was a good lifestyle, stuff like this. So it was never like he never used her just for a sexual object, okay? It was a consensual relationship, and actually he gave her the best of life. The way she used to be treated is how he treated her. It was never like an object of sex for him. That's one, okay? And
Yeah.
and one of the things, another thing, is that if you have a slave, let's say you have a slave, you give them what you eat, you dress them with what you dress, okay? You give them, basically, they are like your brothers and sisters. There's no mistreatment there. And you don't use them
Right.
as an object of sex.
Right, and Aki, his stupid claim, like I said, yeah, dreadful. 1 second, it's not your turn to speak. Okay, a real man is speaking. Someone who's not stuttering and running from questions. So just give me a
you
second, my
sound fat on
friend.
the mic, bro. You breathing hard on the mic like a little fat motherfucker. Like, chill out, bro. I ain't saying
Yeah.
nothing bad
So
about you.
usually when you're losing an argument, you start cursing and
Well,
manifesting.
you're the one that talked about stuttering. I just said you sound fat. That's all I'm saying.
friend,
You might be skinny. I don't know. You just sound fat, bro.
No problem, my friend. Whether I'm fat or skinny
Just breathe out your nose.
doesn't
Breathe
change
out
the
your
fact
nose.
that you're scared to answer the question. Okay, so you're
I'm not
under my
talking to
foot.
you.
Calm down.
Hey,
So in Christ, So just hop on mute. Just hop on mute for now. Okay, thanks. Appreciate it. So in Islam, his stupid claim of sex slaves, it's completely refuted with one simple verse, and that verse is what talks about the right hand possession. Okay, you guys could correct me on this. I believe it's chapter 4, verse 24, Surah Nisa, right, where it says, "As for your right hand possession, do not approach them for fornication." Okay, it literally, so just literally that sentence itself refutes this stupid claim. Okay, it says, "Do not approach them for fornication, rather approach them with legal marriage," right? So it says
Yeah.
to the Muslims, do not approach them just for your own satisfaction. If you do want to approach them, do it the correct way. Bring them into your wealth, right? Treat them equally, right? So it's not like in Christianity, where in Deuteronomy 22, verses 28 and 29, if you find a little girl by herself who is not engaged, and you violate her, you grape her, right? Pull up the verse. Pull up any translation you want. They're going to try and water it down. It means the same thing, my friend. Okay? The difference is, in Islam, it literally says, do not, if you find any of these women attractive, do not come to them to please yourself. Rather, come to them through legal marriage. Marry them into your wealth. Treat them equally, right? However,
And actually,
Deuteronomy... Go ahead.
let me add another Quranic verse, Akhi. In chapter 4, verse 36, okay, can you read chapter 4, verse 36?
36, yeah, I got you. I got it right here. So it says, Serve Allah and do not commit shirk, and be good to your parents, relatives, orphans, and the helpless, near and far neighbors who keep company with you, the travelers in need, and the slaves you own. Allah does not love those who are arrogant and boastful. Do I keep
Yes,
going?
one of the people who we were commanded to be good to are the right hand position. So it's actually a command from Allah to be good to those people. So we don't treat them as sex objects. We treat them like our brothers and sisters.
Exactly. And if you compare it, so what I'm reading in Deuteronomy, it's not talking about right hand possession, okay? Yeah, dreadful, pipe
All right, I got
down.
next.
When it's your turn,
I
you
got
can
next.
speak. Yeah, no problem. You're next, my friend. You got a lot to answer, okay? So in Deuteronomy, it's not talking about people of war, right? It's talking about your average girl walking around town, okay? If you find her and you grape her and you're discovered, right? Only if you're discovered, you have to pay the father 50 shekels. And what happens after you pay her, the father 50 shekels? She is your wife, right? You must marry, and she can never divorce, okay? So the woman, she must marry her rapist, and she is stuck with him forever, okay? And that's just your average girl. The way that they treat war captives is even worse, right? For example, in Numbers 31 and 1 Samuel, everyone already knows the most popular verses, right? Once you're done unaliving the babies and the children and the animals and all of this, right? Then you keep the little virgin girls alive for yourself. But according to Numbers 31, chapter 31, verse 40, you got to give some of those to Yahweh, because Yahweh needs his share of the little girls, right? Anyways, so what do these barbaric men who just annihilated a whole bloodline, a whole village, a whole tribe, what do these men do with these little girls, right? The Christian missionaries will say, oh, well, these little girls are taken just to be integrated into the society because these little girls did not commit the horrible sin. Okay, but the reason we know this is untrue is because if the little girls didn't commit the sin and that's why they were left alive, why weren't the little boys spared? Why weren't the baby boys spared? It says, spare no men among the little ones. So not even the little boys. So we could obviously conclude that a barbarian has something that he could do with a little girl, but a little boy doesn't have anything to offer him sexually, right? So, and I forgot which chapter it is, right? But within the Old Testament, and you could just search it up and it'll come with itself. It tells you what to do with your war captives. It says, shave her head, cut her nails, let her grieve for a month, something like that, right? And after her grieving period, you get your bald wife, right? Your new bald wife, and you do whatever you want with her. Okay? So, Dreadful, I'm gonna switch it back to you. I brought up 3 points of contention, okay? Listen up. My first point was to rebuttal your stupid claim, okay? Islam teaches you cannot approach your right-hand possession in order to fulfill your desires. You must approach them for legal marriage, and you must marry them into your wealth. What is yours is theirs. Okay? This destroys your stupid lie of sex slaves. Okay? It shows that you cannot even touch a woman that is not yours, right? In Islam, we believe this concept of mahram, right? A Muslim man cannot touch a woman, right? Not forget about Muslim, non-Muslim, right? A Muslim man cannot touch a woman unless she is his daughter, wife, or family relative, okay? So your claim has been debunked. And if you want to keep making the stupid claim, you could just read Surah Nisa, which is chapter 4, verse 24. It literally refutes you in a few words. I don't know why he disappeared. Okay, I'm not surprised. He was stuttering all over the place, running, not answering questions, and not wanting to talk to me. So now that he's gone, I don't really have anyone to get an answer from, but it doesn't matter because no answer would suffice. Nothing is comparable to Islam because Islam is perfect and sent from the one true God.
Oh, what's up? Oh, I think he dropped. Hold on, he just joined. He just joined again. All
Hey,
right,
can I speak now?
go ahead.
All right.
Yeah,
ahead.
go ahead.
Nobody's
I'm speaking
nobody's
to
gonna interrupt
Loco. Yeah, I'm speaking to you, Loco, directly.
All right,
Yeah,
go
if,
ahead.
if you're dealing
So-
with a topic, you can.
All right.
So this is the thing,
what's
right?
your question?
Right. So if we go to Quran 33:50, it says, "O Prophet, we have made it lawful for you and your wives to whom you have paid your full dowries, as well as those bondwomen in your possession, whom Allah has granted you. You are," it says, "and the daughters of your paternal uncles and aunts, and the daughters of your maternal uncles and aunts who have immigrated with you, and also a believing woman who offers herself to the Prophet. If he is interested in marrying her, this is exclusively for you, not for the rest of the believers," right? Okay, so let me ask you a question, bro. Let's just be real, Loco. If you're a slave, right, just like both of our ancestors were slaves,
Yeah.
how can you give consent about a marriage or about a sexual encounter?
Wait, what
This
do
is
you
the
mean?
same.
You
How,
like?
if you're a slave, right? If you're a slave woman, how can you give consent to your master about
Yeah,
marriage or sex?
if
You
if you
can't.
if you
Hey,
read the
get this guy.
Surah,
Get this guy. Get this
yeah,
guy,
I
man.
can
He's
answer the
triggered.
question now. I can
Go ahead,
answer
and
that
finish
question.
your. Go ahead and go ahead and finish your
Thank
point.
you. Right. How can you give consent to your master about if you want to have sex or not? I mean,
So-
this is ridiculous.
So you
I mean,
don't
the
believe?
fact that man, I can't say a word, bro.
Yeah,
So-
yeah, actually, you can. By the way,
Oh my God,
if the
dude.
master
So-
himself
okay, if a-
is God fearing person,
First off,
number
Loco,
one,
man, can you get
and
these
he's
guys?
never unjust, you can give consent to him.
Okay. Yeah. So let me just make sure that I'm understanding this right. So you don't believe that a slave woman can give consent to her master?
Hell no.
Yeah, like you don't believe a slave woman could willingly give her consent to a slave man. I mean, I believe that.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Let me ask
Do
you a
you have
question.
evidence for
Do
that?
you give? Do you think she gave consent to be enslaved?
Do you have
well,
evidence for that? The
Loco, get this guy out of here, man.
slave
Like,
can't
he
give
is
consent
very
to
rude,
his master.
and I muted my mic. At least Soldier of Allah has the self-discipline to actually be quiet. You know, I respect that.
Yeah, I don't want you to
yes,
misrepresent
I think
me.
that you should do the same thing, brother.
okay.
All
Okay.
right, so I'm talking to you, Loco.
All right. So again, whenever
you think
death
you're telling
comes,
me like you're okay? Let me give you an example, Loco. Let's say like you was back in the Aztec period, right? And then these Spaniards came and took like female slaves, right? And then a month later they married, right? Would you think to yourself, oh man, she must really like this guy?
yeah. Well, it's not. Well, it's not necessarily.
You know?
It's not necessarily the Prophet Muhammad going and invading a nation and taking them as slaves. The word right here, it says prisoners of war. So they were at war so they were at war and they were able to keep these prisoners of war. But these prisoners of war have to have rights. Like you have to feed them the same food you have. You have to clothe them the same clothing you have.
Right. So would that work for you? Would that work for you in the La Raza? Would that be good enough for y'all?
Well, Islam gives
With the
the slaves.
Mexicans?
Well, Islam gives the slaves the opportunity to buy their freedom and to eventually become free again.
Yeah, I know that, brother. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that based off what you said in the beginning about, oh man, this Christianity was forced on us, XYZ, right? You mean to tell me that you don't see any essence of that with this right here? You have slave women who are basically forced into marriage.
Where does it say forced, bro? Literally, the Quran. Wait, Akhi.
Hold on,
In the
bro.
Quran.
Hold on. Stop talking, man.
Hold on, Dreadful.
No, I'm
Where
not
does it
talking to
say
you, bro.
forced?
Loco, I'm talking to
Where
you,
does it
man.
say
Get
forced?
this guy under control, please, man.
All right, go ahead and finish your point, and I'll respond.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, Loco. It's like you. I mean, let's be fair
Host,
here, right?
ask him where does it say forced?
You're skipping over the whole, And I'm not even trying to like make the argument that Christianity is better than Islam. I'm not even making that argument. All I'm saying is,
Okay, so
just be
stop lying about
consistent
it.
and don't be a
Then.
hypocrite,
Stop
bro.
saying they are forced.
You know what I'm
They are
saying?
not never forced.
Respectfully, and I mean that with respect, bro.
Yeah, okay. Stop,
You know
stop
what I
lying
mean?
about it. Okay,
So
respectfully.
you can't tell me that having bond women does not trigger you if you look at your own people in the same context. Your people
Well,
were conquered, so are mine, right? For
yeah.
me, if somebody told me some bullshit, talk about, oh man, yeah, I took care of the slave man, but she wanted to marry me. They're like, what? She want to marry the same dude who killed her family? She want to marry the
Majority,
same dude who killed her cousins and
yeah.
her husband? So
Careful with saying the
yeah,
K
I
word. Say
got you.
unalive,
I
my
got you.
friend.
Unalive her husband and cousins and things like that. I mean, come on, bro. Like if you would have not even brought that up, I would have been totally fine with what you doing in Islam. And you saying, okay, well, bond women X Y Z, but you're not being true to the statement that you made, the whole criteria that you made. This violates it. That's
No, it
all I'm
doesn't.
saying, dog. And that was my whole point, Loco.
Yeah,
Like I said,
and
I'm talking to you
yeah,
directly.
and yeah, and I would like to respond to that too. Because
Okay.
hold on. All right, my bad. And again,
Yeah.
whenever it does come to how Islam was spread, the wars that they were in were defensive wars. So whenever it
But
does
these are
come to
women and children, though, bro.
yeah,
They're
but
not fighting in the war.
I understand that. But when compared to the Bible and the Quran gives them rights. You
It's
have to
not
treat
about the
them right.
Bible and the Quran,
Listen,
though, dog.
no, no,
Remember,
but I'm
we're
saying
talking about the
at
criteria
that
that you
time,
said.
no, I'm saying at that time, 1,500 years ago, slavery was legal. Slavery was normal. In today's standards, slavery isn't legal in no shape or form. However, when it comes to the Quran tells you how to treat your slaves and do not treat them unfairly, do not treat them unjust, and you have to give them rights. And there's even accounts of slaves from Islamic times who were able to leave town on a horse and they would return back to their masters because they were treated so good with their masters. However, the same thing isn't with the Bible whenever it comes to
Why are you comparing it
slavery.
with the Bible, though?
Well, because
It's not about that.
when it no, let me
Host.
make this. Oh, I just want to make this one point. When it comes to slavery in the South in the 16, 17, 1800s,
Right,
they
right.
used Bible verses to justify beating their slaves, raping
And they
women,
use the
and
same thing in
treating them
Islamic
inhumanely.
countries.
Yeah, but Islam, there's nowhere in Islam does it tell you that you can beat your slave, you can starve them, you can unalive them, or anything like that. You have to treat them as human beings. So when it comes to,
Akhi,
go
I
ahead.
mean,
let me
so you're not arguing
let me give you
about
a
slavery
beautiful
itself.
example.
You're arguing about the treatment of
Wait,
slaves.
bro. Let me give
You
you
know
a
what I'm
beautiful
saying?
example.
I got
I'm
hold on.
talking to the host.
Actually,
I
Host,
let
got
me
you,
do
just
you know Zaid?
but Loco, man.
Do you
Just
know
one last
Zaid?
question before you get off, bro. Like,
Bro.
I mean, man to man, in
It's
your
gonna
heart
be
of hearts,
10
bro.
seconds.
In your
10
heart of hearts,
seconds, bro. I'm done.
do
10
you see
seconds
any
only.
okay.
10 seconds only.
do you see any essence of colonialism
10
in this,
seconds,
brother?
bro.
Let's be
I'm
real.
talking to the
Hold on.
host. Let me finish this one.
Loco.
Okay.
And I'm gonna land
Let
my
him
plane
respond.
here. No,
All right.
I'm talking
Let
to you, brother. I'm talking to you, and I'm gonna land my plane. I'm
Bro,
gonna let you talk.
let me finish. I'm talking to the
Do
host,
you
bro.
think it's
Let me finish
Loco?
this
Do you
one.
think it's
And I'll
hypocritical
give
on
you the
your
mic.
part
I promise.
to then
I
have a
promise I will
double
give you the
standard for
mic.
Islam and
10
Christianity?
seconds
That's
only.
all I'm saying. You have a double
Host,
standard,
meet him.
brother.
Let me
You
give you
gotta
a
look into
beautiful
that.
example
Okay.
that supports your
All right.
case.
All right. So he wanted to ask me a question too. So I'm gonna go ahead and let him answer his question real quick, and just so it don't get all hectic and stuff. All right.
No, I
Okay,
got you.
host. Okay, wait.
But let me
Host,
just finish this. And I'm
there's a
gonna land my
guy,
plane, brother. I
bro.
really
Oh
want to
my
talk to
God,
you, Loco,
bro.
before you
Let me finish
derail.
this one. Let me
No,
finish
just
this
one
one,
last
okay?
thing, Loco, and I'm gonna shut up. I
Bro,
promise.
I'm done. 10 seconds only, and I'll
You know what
give
I'm
you
saying,
the mic.
Loco?
You can speak for 20 minutes.
No,
I
let me just talk
promise
to
you.
Loco right quick, bro.
I promise you. You can
Loco,
speak for 20
do
minutes,
you think
okay?
you
Just
think
10
that's
seconds only.
hypocritical to say, oh, Christians did it, but then when Muslims do it, oh,
Bro.
it's different.
Let me say
You
this
know what I'm
one
saying?
to the hosts, and
Yeah.
I'm done.
All right. I heard what you said. Now let me hear what Aki
I'm
has
gonna
to say.
shut up.
Okay, Akhi, there's a guy in Islam. His name is Zaid. Okay,
Uh-huh.
back in the days, he used to be a slave of Khadija. Okay, and
Okay.
then Khadija gifted him to Prophet Muhammad. He used to live with Prophet Muhammad. Okay, he was a slave who was captured from. He was a prisoner of war. Okay, he was a slave. So as this kid, he was a kid actually. As he was living with Prophet Muhammad, actually Prophet Muhammad adopted him, okay? And then later in life, okay, his own parents came for him. They came to Prophet Muhammad and they said, we want our kid, we'll give you our money, we'll give you money so that we can buy him from you. So Prophet Muhammad said, okay, if he, I don't want your money, but if he can go with you, I will let him go. What did Zayd himself say? Zayd said, I want to stay with Prophet Muhammad. Zayd himself said, I want to stay with Prophet Muhammad. Okay. So our standards, our example, our moral example is Prophet Muhammad. And we can see that how he treated his slaves led them to actually, the slave, making actually denying their own parents and living with Prophet Muhammad himself. So from there we see that, okay, we should behave, the Muslims should behave as Prophet Muhammad towards their slaves. Okay, so there's no mistreatment in Islam. Our example is Prophet. If we capture a land, we treat our slaves just like Prophet Muhammad literally treated his slaves, to a point that even the slaves don't want to go with their own parents. They want to stay with Prophet Muhammad himself.
Right.
And
then sorry, finish. Sorry.
Yeah, you can join, Akhi.
So I was gonna say. So what Dreadful is doing is. Wait, Dreadful. No,
Okay,
Dreadful. I've been on mute for 8 minutes. I've been on mute for 8 minutes because I told you. I went on a rant and I said address what I said. You didn't address a single thing. You didn't speak of Deuteronomy 22. You didn't speak of 1 Samuel. You didn't speak of Numbers 31. You didn't speak about the treatment of captives, female captives of war in the Old Testament. I brought up 4 points of contention. You didn't touch one. Okay, no problem. I understand that you're afraid of these topics, my friend. I understand it's hard for you to have a conversation with me about the very topics you're bringing up. Okay, you have no problem talking about slavery or right-hand possession in Islam, but when it comes to Christianity, you say, okay, I'm not going to touch Deuteronomy, Numbers, Samuel. I'm going to go to the Hadith. All right. So the false equivocation you're making is that you're saying that, why would you leave Christianity for this reason when Islam has the same thing? It does not have the same thing. Okay. In Islam, you are not allowed to beat your slave, right? There's a hadith where one of the brothers could pull it up for me because I'm on my way to school right now, so I can't tell TikTok what I'm doing. But there's a hadith where somebody slapped their slave, right? I believe it was a female slave. I could be wrong. I'm just quoting the hadith from memory. But the Prophet heard that he slapped the slave, and he said, right, you must set them free. Because there is no verse in the Quran that says, beat them with a rod, and if they survive, then you're good. If they bleed out, then you got to do this, right? Do you know how bad of a beating you have to give for somebody to survive for multiple hours and pass the next day? Do you know how bad the beating has to be? There has to be broken bones, internal bleeding, internal damage to the organs. You do not understand how bad the beating has to be in order to achieve that. Nowhere in Islamic literature does it say anything like this. So when Dreadful says, well, it's the same thing in Islam, he is lying, okay? Does Islam share the concept? Yes, it shares the concept. In Christianity, they believe that once you go to war with someone and you do not leave the women and children by themselves because they'll get absolutely destroyed by the next tribe that comes. They're just women and children, right? Both religions teach that you keep the people of the war who didn't have anything to do with it, and you bring them to your society. So a shared concept is extremely different than what he's trying to propose. What he's trying to propose is saying that it's the exact same. No, my friend, we do not treat slaves the same way you do. We do not have the same concept of slavery that you do. We do not have the same concept of right-hand possession as you do. So your entire argument is based off of you trying to attempt to make a false equivocation. You're trying to drag us in the mud with you because you keep saying again and again, I'm not trying to say Christianity is better, because you know that your position is so low that you're trying to say, I know we're low, but y'all are pretty low too. No, my friend. Shared concepts is not the same as the same way it is held, okay? Well, I'll just end it with this, and I said it like 30 seconds ago, but with Dreadful, you have to repeat stuff. I'll repeat it one last time, and then I'll give the mic over to whoever wants to speak next. We do not have the same concept of slavery as you. Ours is just. Ours is from the one true God. We do not have the same concept of right-hand possession as you. Ours is just. Ours is from the one true God. We do not have the same concept of harming slaves as you. Ours is just. Ours is from the one true God. Thank you.
Okay, so Loco, as you can see, the justification of slavery is very big within Islam. It's justified by good, quote unquote, good treatment. Is justified by, oh, we're marrying them, we're marrying our slaves, even though first off the slave never gave consent to be enslaved. So how can the slave consent to have sex or marry?
Bro, stop strawmanning again, okay? Misrepresenting again, okay? There's only one way you can have a slave in Islam, and that's captive in war. Okay, they are already criminals.
I was quiet.
Okay, stop lying about it.
Loco, you see this, the justification of slavery is religious.
We don't have slavery in Islam, bro. Stop lying about it.
Oh my God, man. I can't talk in here, man.
Wait, so Dreadful. So again, like I said, I don't like to interrupt you, but when you lie, I do have to interrupt you. Okay? So here's the thing. But I'll just say one sentence. I'll say one sentence.
I'll come back.
My friend,
Later,
you're
bro.
uneducated. I'll say one sentence.
Because I can't talk to
My
you.
friend, just
I can't even get a word out.
my friend. Would you allow me to correct you? Correct your mistake? Would you allow that?
Word out, bro. Loco.
All right,
Could you imagine?
Okay.
Could you imagine, Loco, if a down south white man was talking to you and say, "Yeah, we got slaves, man. We treat them good, though, man. We treat them good, man, and they like it. They like living here. Like, do you think that would go over well with people?
Well, I don't
in
think that
today's
any.
society?
Well, I don't think any slave from the South would say that they liked being a slave because of how they treated their slaves
Right.
was inhumane.
Okay.
But again,
Okay, got
whenever
you.
it comes, but again, well, one more point.
So in the
When it
Middle
comes to
East, you're
Islam-
saying that the slaves were like being slaves in the Middle East during the 6th century,
because
7th
they
century?
don't. Well, they get taken care of. They don't get beat. They
Bro,
don't get
right, come on,
tortured.
man. All right,
I mean,
I gotta go, brother. I gotta
all
go,
right,
man.
All right, brother. All right. Oh man, I'm telling you, I'm telling you. Man. What the fuck?
Yeah, Loco, I don't know if you know, right? The guy may be nice to you and he kisses up to your ass, but he's very disingenuous, right?
Yeah.
Ever since I've been on the way to school, I've spoken twice. I've been on mute the whole time. Right now, I interrupted him for one reason. In Islam, what's the only context where you could have intercourse? The only time you're allowed to have intercourse.
Yeah, exactly, bro. And then like whenever it comes to, oh no, go ahead.
No. I'm gonna let you finish, but I was just gonna say it's marriage, dude.
Yeah.
You cannot have sex outside of marriage. There is no temporary marriage. There is no. Well, the Prophet Muhammad, he had sex. No, my friend, the Prophet Muhammad did not even touch a woman. Forget about kissing. Forget about holding hands. He did not even touch a woman, right? Wait. Let me take it a step further. The Prophet
How
Muhammad
did Muhammad marry Khadijah?
Okay,
How did he
her.
marry Khadijah?
Drop this woman. Drop this woman. She's a known idiot. Okay, she blasphemes the Prophet, the Quran. She claims to be Muslim and she rejects the Quran. Don't ever let her up again. Okay. So I'll just wrap up my point quick because I want to keep the conversation going. The only context in Islam where you could have intercourse with the opposite sex is through marriage. There is no other context. There is no loophole. There is no this, that, or the other. That's the only thing. So when Dreadful starts his point off by saying, well, when Muhammad did whatever he wanted with the what? No, that you have to interrupt him right there. You can't let the sentence finish because it's based off a false premise. He's presupposing something that's not true. So that's why that's the only time I'll really interrupt. right? It's when a lie is being told, I'll interrupt, and the reason is the audience could be listening, and they'll be like, "Yeah, this is true." So that's the only reason.
Oh yeah. All right. So hold on, let me see. Yeah, and again, like, whenever it comes to the Quran and whenever it comes to the Bible, nowhere in the Quran are you gonna see a verse that says, "Ye shall utterly destroy every male, every woman that hath lain by man." And they found among the inhabitants of Giblish and Galed 400 young virgins that had not known any man by lying with any male, in which they brought them into the camp of Shiloh, which is in the land of Canaan. So when it comes to all these Islamophobic people who are talking about pedophilia and slavery and all these other things, like, it's okay to take young virgin girls and keep them for yourselves. But, you're not going to find any verse like that in the Quran, because the Quran is just, and it's literally a standard set of rules. And like you said, Zayd, he was a slave, and he was given the opportunity to go back to his parents, but no, he chose to stay with the prophet because the prophet, treated him good, and he was the prophet of God. And so I'm not too versed on the whole story, but that is one, aspect that I find interesting, that, if they were slaves and if they were treated so bad, why did Zayd want to stay with the prophet? All right, so I have this guy right here. What's going on, bro? Where you coming from?
I'm like, what do you mean where I'm coming from?
Well, like, where you from? Where you live right now? I live in
I'm
Texas.
from Louisiana.
Louisiana? Oh, that's cool. That's cool. You're right next door. All right, so what would you like to discuss today?
So I see that you're Chicano. You're a Mexican.
Yeah,
American?
Mexican-American. Yeah.
So I just had a question of oh, by the way, Soldier of Allah, what's up? I had a question about what are your thoughts about Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Mm-hmm. Wait, are you Mexican?
No, I'm not, but I grew up around Mexicans. But are you familiar with Our Lady of Guadalupe?
Our Lady of Guadalupe. Yes.
Mother Mary. And you're familiar how Mexico became a Catholic, right?
Yeah.
Because of the image.
Because the image. Yeah, I'm not too versed on it. Because it's been a while since I've done the research. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. Assalamu alaikum.
Yeah, so I just wanted your thoughts about that. Like, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, whenever it did,
Could you tell us what you're talking about? Sorry, I just want to know what the context is. What's the image? I want to know what that is.
So there's this very famous icon. It's called Our Lady of Guadalupe. You can look it up. It's an icon of Mother Mary. And I forget the name of the guy, but there was this Mexican, and I forget the whole story, but basically Mother Mary appeared to him, and he wanted to build like a chapel. And so he went to the priest, but the priest didn't like that. And so he went to Mother Mary and asked for help, and she engraved an image on his jacket. And it was the icon of Our Lady of Guadalupe, and it's responsible for 15 million conversions. And if you look at it with the, have you ever gone to the eye doctor and they put this thing up to your eye and look through it? When you do that to the image of Our Lady of Guadalupe, you can see the retinas. It's a miracle, but it's like a Mexican miracle.
So so my whole thing is, I can't take a personal account of something that happened to a personal person, because there's no way to verify that and see if it's real in the first place. And then second of all,
no, it's a verified miracle.
No, well, I don't know much about my whole thing is, I talk to a lot of Christians. They say that they became Christian because they were in church. They were the Holy Spirit entered into them. They were speaking in tongues, and so therefore Christianity is true. And it's I can't say that Christianity is true just because Mother Mary appeared or whatever. But if the Mother Mary that appeared was a white woman, that's I can't take that into account because because we don't even know who any of those people look like anyways. And then the Bible also says not to create graven images of people or any prophet or God or anything. So when it comes to creating images of Mary, we don't know who Mary was. I mean, it's easy to falsify something, an image of someone, especially that lived thousands of years ago. There's no photographs or anything.
Do you know what an engraven image is?
Yeah, an engraven image is making a god out of something that was created. Like for example, statues.
Yeah, it's an idol, so it's not like an icon.
Yeah, so when it
It's
comes
something
to
you worship. But I
yeah,
brought it up not as like a proof. I brought it up because I know you're Mexican, and that's like a big part of Mexican culture. So I was just wondering what your overall opinion on it was.
yeah. Well, my whole thing is we don't believe in. Well, Muslims actually follow the Ten Commandments, believe it or not. And so, whenever it comes to not having images of people, it tells you not to have images. And so, when it comes to having an image of Mary or having an image of Jesus, we didn't know who they look like, so it's easy to falsify them. And so, I can't say that Christianity is true because these people seen the Virgin Mary and that she appeared and they all converted and stuff. What's the best way to try to figure out a better way to word this? But yeah, that's
I understand your answer, Achi. You gave a pretty clear answer the very first time you spoke, right? You said
Yeah.
you said that you said that you wouldn't base you wouldn't base your opinion off of a subjective experience of a person, right, or a people.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
a person claimed, "Oh, this miracle happened to me," and a bunch of people said, "Wow, this is a miracle. I'm a convert," right? So yeah, I think I completely agree with your answer. Same thing for me, right? If somebody says, "Oh, this miracle happened to me," I'd be like, "Okay, but that's more of a subjective point of accepting it or something, right? It's not something objective that you could prove objectively. It's more of something that was a personal experience.
No, yeah, like I wasn't trying to use it as a proof, guys. I was just trying to because I know you're because you say you're Chicano, and I just know that's a big part of Mexican culture. So I was just wondering your overall thoughts about it.
What's your thoughts?
My thoughts? Oh, I think it's an absolute great miracle. It is a verified miracle.
What's a miracle?
The Our Lady of Guadalupe.
What is that?
Theophilus, how do you
Mexican
verify
thing?
a miracle?
Yeah, so we have the actual icon, like we have the icon, and so it has like two miracles with it. The first miracle being that the image couldn't be made like that, like it like just couldn't. It's like they couldn't make it at that time. It's not like it's painted, it's not like it's a painted icon. The dude's jacket turned into like the painting, but it's not like an actual painting. There's no paint on it. Secondly, the second thing is if you look into the retinas with I forget the name of the tool, but it's something that the eye doctors use. You can see the retinas of Mary. There's also it's also responsible for 15 million conversions. But
much love. Thank you. All right, go ahead, brother. My bad.
But so it's not like it's obviously it's not a proof. Like you can't like take like a subjective experience for like all those people, and then I mean, I'm sure you could find a way out of like but it's not painted and you can see the retinas. I'm sure you could possibly find a way out of that. But like I was just asking because it's like it's a very cultural thing, and I was just wondering what he thought about it culturally.
Oh, okay. So what you think about it culturally?
Me? Well, I think it's a great miracle, and I think Our Lady...
No, I'm talking about loco.
Oh.
All right, wait, what was the question again? My bad, I was responding to a
He wanted you to restate your thoughts on the Our Lady of Guadalupe.
Okay, but I'm responding to this comment real quick. I'm here in a sec, but...
What's your name, bro? Theo?
Theophilus.
Theophilus. Do you believe God is omnipresent?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So you believe God is in hell also?
In hell?
No, I'm asking you, do you believe God is in hell?
Yes, hell is his presence, obviously.
Amazing. Loco.
Yeah, so... Oh, sorry, Achi. I was just gonna ask Theophilus one last question and say something because I do have to hop off. I just arrived at school and I'm really late to class. So Theophilus, first of all, what time zone are you in? I'm a Pacific.
It's 9:22 p.m. for me.
Okay, so it's 6:22 p.m. for me. You're 3 hours ahead. Would you be free tomorrow morning? Well, for me it'd be morning. For you it'd be like 2, 3 p.m. somewhere around there.
Yeah, I'll be available.
Okay, cool. So I'll try calling you on Discord, or we could go live or do whatever somewhere around that time, just so we could continue our conversation. Because, like I said, I just got to class. I do have to hop off in a sec, but I want to see if I could get something answered really quick. So you said that you basically made a distinction between icon and idol. What's the difference between the two?
Yeah, so an idol is something that like it's like a material thing that you worship. An icon isn't something that we would worship.
What is it? Is an icon something you use to help you worship? Is it a tool to help you worship?
No, not necessarily. No, like we wouldn't use it to worship. We would just keep it here as a subject of the as a subject of what we're praying.
Right. So that's what I mean, right? You said you use it as a subject to what you're praying or what you're
Yeah.
praying,
So like
right?
if I'm if I'm praying to Jesus, I would venerate the icon, the icon, because of the subject of the icon. So I wouldn't be venerating the icon itself. I'd be venerating the subject of the icon.
Right. So I understand you're not worshiping the item itself, right? You're using it as a tool to help you worship the person depicted in the idol, right?
The person depicted in the icon, yes.
In the icon, yeah, my bad. So again, to a certain extent, you're placing a material object in front of you in order to help perform your veneration or worship of the person depicted on it, right?
Yeah.
So I would make the argument that I agree. When it comes to idolatry, there are instances where the people are worshiping the statue itself or the item itself, right? But there are also instances of idolatry. Sorry, I'll just say this and hop off. There are also instances of idolatry, such as in Hinduism, where they use idols, right, or icons, whatever you want to call it, and they claim that they're not necessarily worshiping the created thing itself, rather they're worshiping what is depicted. And you would agree that what Hindus, or let me ask you, would you agree that Hindus practice idolatry?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what the Hindus would essentially give the same answer, right? I'm not saying all of them, but some Hindus would say they're not worshiping this painting, which
They would be.
Krishna.
They would like say they're worshiping the subject of it. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's why the distinction between an icon and an idol, I feel that the fine line between the both of them, it's very thin. And the same way you could recognize Hindus as practicing idolatry, we would say the same of you. With all respect, I don't mean to say that disingenuously. I'm just trying to say that's
point of view.
That's our
It's a
perspective.
form of idolatry. I can understand
Right.
from your point of view. It's a form of idolatry.
Right, but like I said, I have to run to class. But I'll call you tomorrow, probably like between 2-3 o'clock for you.
You know, it's kind of weird, bro. That some Hindus are atheists, bro.
Yeah,
I heard about that too.
They're all over the place.
Yeah, they got. I didn't know they had different type of. I thought each one of them worshiped Brahman, but they.
No, they got theistic Hinduism, and then just like just the spiritual Hinduism, where they're just spiritual. They don't believe in like a god or anything.
Yeah, there's even this book that I have. It's called Religion for Dummies, and it talks about all the religions. It talks about Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Zoroastrianism, every religion you can name up. And one thing that I was reading about the Hinduism is that they have this caste system, and that from the time you're born, you're joined into a caste. And like certain people, they're born into higher castes. Some people are born into lower castes, but some of the people in the higher castes aren't allowed to talk to people in the lower caste. And for me, it's confusing because, I still didn't do my research on Hinduism, but Hinduism is real interesting when it comes to those aspects. And I used to practice Hindu practices like the meditations and all that. But like the overall belief of Hinduism, it's idol worship. And plus, there's no way to, verify if these teachings are actually real because, you can't trace them back to whoever written them because I believe they're anonymous. So,
Hinduism is based upon astrology, bro.
Yeah, it is based upon astrology.
That system was enforced by the colonial regime.
So, Theo, it's amazing. I never see Catholic churches in my area. Most churches that I see in my area are Methodist. I see Methodist Church, Lutheran Church. There's a Macedonian community.
Dang, bro, I feel bad for you.
I mean,
You got the right Christians, man. You got the Protestants.
yeah. I mean, in the South, it's more Protestants, right? And up north is more. You can find more Catholicism up north than down south, right?
Yeah.
So Atlanta and stuff like that, you don't really have too many Catholic churches. There's more Martin Luther churches, Lutheran churches, Methodist church, Baptist church, especially everywhere.
Yeah.
The Baptist Christian missionaries are wow.
Bro, they, dude. But have you ever heard of the guy that says like he can correct the Greek with the KJV?
Now, are you talking about, is his name Gabriel?
Yeah, Gabriel.
Yeah, he's a Pentecostal.
Yeah, bro, dude, I can't stand him.
Yeah, he's a Pentecostal Christian. He runs around on stage. Do silly stuff.
Yeah. You know God Logic? You know God Logic?
Yeah.
Have you seen the videos of him dancing?
Speaking of him,
Nah.
he came up on my live earlier, telling me to go to his live because he wanted to answer some questions that I had about the Bible and stuff. But I was working and stuff, so I wasn't able to join his live. But yeah, that's like one person. Like when it comes to God Logic, he's a real knowledgeable Christian, and like sometimes I feel worried about debating him because I don't want to say the wrong thing, and I know he does trick a lot of people into a lot of things. So I feel like I gotta do my research and get a little more better before I debate someone like him.
I like God Logic, but